Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable's 10th anniversary show, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. And Chet, the Eagles made another splash in the NFL draft. The Sixers hanging on to play another day. Phillies continue to get solid starting pitching as they pass the 1/5 mark of the season. They lead the major league in wins. But tonight, Philly Pressbox Radio is celebrating our 10th anniversary, show number 493 to be exact, and we're celebrating it with Hall of Famer, the godfather of Philly sports, Ray Didinger. It doesn't get any better than that. Happy anniversary, pal.
Yeah, back at you. Oh, turn the mic on. Back at you, Bill. 10 years. We will talk plenty about that in the second half of our show, but we have a pretty darn good first half hour on tap for everybody, too. A lot of folks are excited about this one, so let's get it going.
Let's do it. As mentioned, we have a great guest tonight making a return visit to Philly Pressbox Radio to talk Eagles and about the NFL draft and about just a whole bunch of other stuff, too. The Hall of Famer, Ray Didinger. Ray, as always, welcome back to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Always a pleasure to be with you, fellas. Congratulations on 10 years. That's in today's media market. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. The way things change and the way things turn over, to have a 10-year run, you've done well.
Thank you.
And I got to tell you, Ray, you were our special guest on our 4th anniversary show and our 5th anniversary show. So it makes perfect sense that we bring you back for our 10th, because you're certainly one of our favorites. And, especially this time of the year, right after the Eagles draft. Thanks for being such a good friend of Philly Pressbox Radio. Now, I heard you Sunday morning on with Mac and Mac, and you had some high praise for what the Eagles did in last week's draft. For people who didn't hear, what do you like about the DBs they selected in rounds 1 and 2, Mitchell and DeJean?
Two really, really good players. I mean, they were on my draft board, where I rate the players and stack them by position. They were my cornerbacks, number 1, number 2. I had Mitchell number 1, and I had DeJean number 2, and both of them ahead of the 2 Alabama kids who are good players. Arnold is a good player and McKendry is a good player, but I thought that Mitchell and DeJean were better than both of them. And, for the Eagles to come away from the draft with both of those guys is pretty slick work by the general manager. I thought that, that's the high point of the draft, but there were some other things he did, being able to move up and down the board, stockpile some additional draft picks for next year, and still come away with some of the players that he came away with. It was a very, very good weekend for Howie Roseman and the Eagles.
Well, Ray, let's jump down to the 3rd round. Jalix Hunt, an edge from Houston Christian. It goes into one of those deals. I guess if you could play, they're going to find you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you can play, they'll find you. And that was looking back on the draft, looking back on the whole 3 days. If people were to ask me, was there anything the Eagles did that had you scratching your head a little bit? That would probably be it. I'm not sure, at least by my grading system, I didn't have Hunt as a second-day pick. I had him. I certainly thought he was draftable, but I thought he would be somewhere in day 3. I didn't expect that the Eagles would grab him in the 3rd round when there were some other really good players on the board. But I've talked to a couple people since then. Some people whose opinions I respect, like Brian Baldinger. I've seen Daniel Jeremiah, who I think is a very smart guy, talk about it. And they both felt that that was right about where Hunt should have gone. I mean, they didn't. To me, I thought it was a reach, but some of the other people who really know this stuff didn't think so. So we'll see. I thought that, Howie made the statement after the pick was made that they view Hunt as a developmental player, a guy that, you talk about that he started his college career at Cornell, where he didn't play all that much, and then went to Houston Christian, where he played a lot but didn't play against anybody. So it's a little hard to evaluate the tape with him. But some of the real professionals think that his combination of his size, his speed, and his athletic ability make him a viable third-round pick. So I thought it was a little high, but we'll see. I mean, he's going to have an opportunity to come. Listen, the Eagles, Hassan Reddick is gone, and Brandon Graham this is probably his last year. Josh Sweat, there was talk about trading him. He's back, but who knows for how long. The Eagles need players who can get pressure from the edge, and this kid will have an opportunity to show what he can do.
And then, of course, in the 5th round, a pick that we thought was going to, happen earlier for this young man, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He lasted until round 5. A lot of Eagles fans wanted him in a 2nd or 3rd round. Eagles got him at pick number 155. Is he a player? We know he's going to be a fan favorite because he's Trotter's son, but can the guy play?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he can. He's not that similar to his father. In fact, he's very different than Trot Sr. Jeremiah Sr. was a 245-pound force in the middle of that defense. I mean, and Jim Johnson used him really well. Playing downhill, attack the line of scrimmage, blow up the A gap, run blitz, run blitz, run blitz. I mean, Jeremiah Sr. was almost like a third defensive tackle in that defense, and he was very good at it. Jeremiah Jr., I think a lot of folks who haven't seen him just kind of think, well, he's going to be exactly like his dad. And the fact is he's not. He's very different. He's much smaller. I mean, Junior is a shade over 6 feet tall, probably 220 pounds. But in today's NFL, that's what they call the off-the-ball linebacker. That's kind of your will linebacker. And that guy his job is to make plays all over the field, play sideline to sideline. And that's what Trot Jr. does. That's what he does really well. I mean, if you look at his stat line at Clemson, he fills it up. Tackles for losses, sacks, passes broken up, passes intercepted, passes returned for touchdowns. He's all over the field making plays. And, I think he's going to be a different kind of player than his dad. But for an Eagles team that clearly has to rebuild that back seven of the defense, I think he's going to get an opportunity to play, and I think he's going to play well. I mean, Chet, you said it. I mean, he's going to be an instant fan favorite. I mean, one of the things that the fans all talked about happily after the draft was, oh man, we got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I mean, there's already excitement about this kid. Just serendipitously, the Eagles do not have a 54 on their roster now, so he can walk right into that number, which I think he will. And I think that given an opportunity to play, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to come in and play really well.
Hey, Ray, one pick that really surprised me that he was still there in round 6 was Johnny Wilson, a wide receiver from Florida State. He was thought early on last year to be an All-American type of player. He had a bad case of the drops there for a while. But why did Wilson drop down so far? My first question. And second question, 2 wide receivers in the draft when you would think they're kind of stockpiled at wide receiver.
Well, the kid from Texas A&M, the Eagles needed a slot receiver. I mean, they're pretty well set with the 2 outside guys. I mean, Brown and Smith, you're good there.
Right.
They're really good players, and the Eagles have locked them both up on long-term contracts for big money. And they should. I mean, they're that good. But they really didn't have a slot receiver. And, the Eagles play, like most teams now, they play a lot of 11 personnel. A lot. I mean, with 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 wide receivers with a slot receiver. And they were hoping that Quez Watkins would be that guy, but that never really worked out, and Quez moved on. So they really had a need there for that particular guy. He's not going to take minutes away from Smith or Brown, that's for sure. But they need, if they're going to go 11 personnel, which I think they will, they're going to need a slot receiver. And that's what they were looking for. So that made some sense to me. And Wilson is Wilson just had a really disappointing year. I mean, he's an intriguing prospect in that he's 6'6.5", 230 to 235 pounds. played mostly wide receiver. But he's had a weird college career. He started out at Arizona State, was a big disappointment there. He got down on their program. The coaches got down on him. So he transferred to Florida State and played better. But he still is, and Bill, you said it, he's just very inconsistent catching the ball. I mean, he drives you crazy with dropping the ball. He makes big plays. Like last year, he had 22 catches of over 20 yards, which is pretty good. I mean, that put him among the upper echelon of those kinds of receivers in college football. But, for every one of those big plays he made, there was a play where he was wide open, just dropped it. Just a matter of concentration. I mean, guys can get over that with practice and better work habits. So I think at that point in the draft, that far down in the draft, I don't think the Eagles are necessarily looking for a receiver, but probably he represented the best value on the board at that point. So they'll bring him in and give him a chance to make this team.
Hey, Ray, let me get back to Cooper DeJean for a minute. They took him in the second round. A lot of people thought he would be gone well before that. He can play pretty much anywhere in the secondary. He can return kicks. His coach says he could play offense if they needed him to. Where do you see the Eagles using Cooper DeJean?
Everywhere. Everywhere, in a word. He will he did in high school and even some at Iowa. He did play all over the field. He did play some offense. He did return kicks. But his real future in the NFL is on the defense. And the question is, okay, where everybody knows he can play, but where do you play him? And if I were to guess, I mean, there's no guessing with Mitchell. I mean, Mitchell's going to come in. He's going to be the other corner opposite Slay. And he's going to be, in my view, really good day one. I mean, I think he's going to come in and be really good right away. I mean, week one, he's going to be starting. And I think he's going to be very good at it. DeJean, I think, is going to be a wonderful tool for the new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, because he can play corner if he has to. He can. He can play in the slot. He's very good in there. And he's really good at safety. I think that's where he's going to wind up. I think ultimately he's going to wind up being a safety because right now, they're pretty thin at safety. I mean, they have C.J. Gardner-Johnson has come back, which will help. But that other safety position was kind of a mismatch all last year. And Cooper DeJean, I think, can come in and solve that right away. He's and listen, if you watch the draft, a lot of teams drafted with one eye on the new rules changes on the kick returns. I mean, they brought back, they've changed the rules now to bring kick returns back to the NFL. And so a lot of teams were drafting guys who could return the ball and also drafting guys who can cover kicks because now your coverage guys are actually going to have to cover. I mean, for the last few years, the Jake Elliott's of the world are just kicking the ball into the stands and the other 10 guys just run down the field, do a little wind sprint, turn around and go to the bench. Who cares if they can tackle or not? They're not asked to. Well, now they will. So teams, I think, especially day three, were drafting with an eye on getting those kinds of players that can help them in what's going to be kind of a new era of special teams play.
Hey, Ray, we don't want to skip Will Shipley, but I want to get to something else first. Tyler Keegan, guard out of Michigan. Dylan McMahon, a center out of North Carolina State. They go get, I'm going to hope the guy get this right, Mekhi Becton, 6'7", 364-pound, former first-rounder in 2020 from the Jets. Tyler Steen last year, Cam Jurgens. Where does all these guys fit in? Are they going to build depth, or are they concerned about that center and right guard position? What do you see kind of bringing all these guys in, and how's that going to sort itself out?
Well, this was the first year in several years when the Eagles had to actually look around for offensive line help. They were, they had that front five, that group that was so good for so long, and they had pretty good depth behind it. Well, now, Jason Kelce has retired. Great draft pick by ESPN to get him for their Monday night show. I think he's going to be sensational. But he retires. And Cam Jurgens, who actually played pretty good at right guard last year. I had my doubts, but I thought he played pretty good. But he's a natural center. So he's going to move over, and he'll be the center now. So right guard is pretty much wide open. Sua Opeta, who was here for a couple of years as a depth guy, he's gone. Jack Driscoll, who was a pretty good swing guy, could play both guard and tackle. He signed with Miami. So, I mean, they were dangerously thin on the offensive line. And so that's what I think that Keegan and McMahon represent. I mean, they're late round picks, but they're the kinds of guys that, Jeff Stoutland is such a good coach that you take a couple of good, tough guys who have played a high level of college football. You bring them here and you hand them over to Jeff Stoutland, or as the players refer to it, Stoutland U, and let him work with these guys. And, I think that one or both of them will probably work their way into the starting lineup. I really like Keegan. I mean, he played as a 4-year starter at Michigan, playing a high level of college football. Anybody that watched that Michigan team over the last couple of years, you saw how good their offensive line was.
Yeah.
And I thought he was the best of them. So to get him where they got him, I think that was really good. I mean, he'll come in and compete right away for that right guard job. Tyler Steen, who was a pick last year, will probably get the first crack at it by the virtue of having been here 1 year. But I think Keegan is going to push him for that job. And, somewhere along here, he's going to be part of your front five. I mean, he's just too good a player. Right now, he's probably represents some depth, but he's too good a player to stay on the bench. You take a guy like that and you give him to Jeff Stoutland, you're going to have something.
Or Ray, before the draft, of course, the Eagles made several moves, comings and goings, none bigger than Saquon Barkley finally becoming an Eagle. I like the guy when he was at Penn State, of course. He had a pretty good career with the Giants when he was healthy. What's he going to bring to the Eagles offense?
I think a lot. I know that there's some debate back and forth about, whether he's really that good, whether he was worth what the Eagles gave up to get him, worth what they're paying him. But I think yes. He played well for the Giants, and that offense and that offensive line didn't help him a whole heck of a lot. I mean, if you watch the Giants on tape, their offensive line play was at near the bottom of the NFL. I mean, they kept trying different people, and they just couldn't. They just weren't very good at it. And Barkley still had some really good years. Coming here, he'll be running behind the best line he's run behind since he was at State College. And, I think that even though he's said all the right things and he's been a real gentleman about the way he's handled this stuff, which is his nature. I mean, he's that kind of a guy. There's certainly a desire on his part to kind of show people, that, in a different situation, in a more complete kind of offense, I'm going to show people that taking me as the second player in a draft wasn't a dumb idea, and I think he's going to come here. You'll never get him to say that, but I think he's coming here with the idea that he feels like he's got something to prove. And in Philadelphia, playing behind that offensive line, he's probably going to be able to prove it. So I was a little surprised that they did it. The Eagles don't normally make that kind of a investment in the running back position. But when they did, I thought good for them, because I think that, he's going to help them running the ball. He can really catch the ball. His rookie year, he caught 91 passes. And the other part of it, and this is, sort of, people don't think about this, but he's a very good pass protector. And he's really good picking up the blitz. And anybody that saw the Eagles down the stretch last year, all the problems they had picking up the blitz, a lot of it had to do with the fact that the running backs that they had last year just couldn't do it. Well, now you got a running back that if he's asked to pick up a blitzer, he can do that in addition to all the other things. So, yeah, I think Saquon Barkley is going to come in here and have a real positive impact on this team.
And that leads us right into Will Shipley, the 4th-round draft pick to go in that running back room. They kind of cleared that room out and added Barkley and Shipley. How do you see him fitting?
Utility man, can do a lot of different things. Probably projects as a third down kind of guy. Catching the ball out of the backfield, returning kicks maybe. I mean, he can do that. Spell Barkley from time to time. I have a feeling that Barkley's going to be on the field a lot. I don't know how many snaps Shipley's going to get, but he was a good player. He was a good player at Clemson, and not a superstar. I mean, if you watch him on tape, He's not a guy that's going to he's not a guy that's going to break a ton of tackles. He's not a guy that's going to get you a whole lot of yards after catch, but he'll catch the ball and he'll move the chains. And also, again, like we were talking about a few moments ago, in a year when special teams are probably going to be back in play, he'll be able to help you there, both as a coverage guy and possibly a return guy. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I don't think Boston Scott will be back. Doesn't appear that way. So right now your backfield it's basically Saquon Barkley, Kenny Gainwell, and Shipley. So he'll be in position to play a lot, I think.
All right, Ray, before we wrap things up, I want to ask you about something else. 2 years ago, you made your retirement announcement telling folks you'd be giving up your WIP weekend duties. And a couple of weeks back, your friend and longtime radio partner, Glenn Macnow, made a similar announcement. Tell me about Glenn, the broadcaster, and Glenn, your pal.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had a great partnership that we worked together at WIP for 21 years doing that weekend show. And it was really just tremendous fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Glenn and I really didn't know each other when they put us together. I think the people that ran the station thought, well, they're just two sports writers. They must know each other. Let's just let them work together. And the fact of the matter is, Glenn and I hadn't really exchanged that many words over the years. I mean, we sat next to each other in the press box a few times, but that was it. But it just worked out. I mean, they put us together and it just kind of clicked, I mean, it's, that kind of chemistry in radio or even in TV, you can't fake that. It's either there or it's not. And it was for us pretty much right from the start. And, we had 21 really great years together. I chose to retire 2 years ago. And, Glenn stayed on. Glenn thought about retiring with me, but he wasn't quite ready yet. I'm older than he is, and I was much farther down the road. So I said, listen, you just keep doing the show. You enjoy it. People enjoy the show, keep doing it. So he did. But just a few months ago, we were talking about it, and he said, I think I'm going to retire now. So, I knew it was coming. But when he announced it a couple weeks ago, people, when he said, I'm going to have an announcement to make, I think people kind of knew what it was. But I mean, people have responded the way I would have expected them to respond. I mean, geez, I'm going to miss you, because he was really, really good, and you look at WIP now, boy, it's a whole different station than it was. I mean, all of the old guys, that when they started it up, back when nobody thought sports talk was a good idea, they thought that this idea is going to play itself out in a year, maybe two. But, all of those guys from the beginning, I mean, from Angelo Cataldi to Steve Fredericks to Glenn, to Al Morgani, me, Stan Hockman. The station was really built on the Philadelphia sports writer community because we were recognizable names. And here we are all of these years later, and the station is a roaring success. And, now kind of the old guard has moved on and the young guys have taken over and the ratings have still stayed really strong. So, you can never go wrong in this market talking sports. You guys are proof of that. Right. I mean, the people in this town, they just love their sports and they all have opinions. And whether it's in podcasts or TV or radio, there'll always be an audience for it. And Glenn served that audience very, very well.
Now, Ray, you and Glenn are going to do some things together, right? Upon retirement and maybe a little bit of rest.
Yes, we are. We are going to do, we're going to continue. We've done a few different shows that we take on the road. This is one of them, Sports Movie Night, which we started doing, I guess back around 2010, when we wrote the book, The Ultimate Book of Sports Movies. We started doing live shows in theaters where we would show film clips from the great sports movies. And we would talk about them, talk about the making of Rocky, talk about the making of Hoosiers, talk about the making of The Natural. And people really liked it. And so we've continued doing the show and we're going to continue doing the show. And as you just saw up on the board, we are doing another one of our sports movie nights on June the 5th. It's a Wednesday night at the Uptown Performing Arts Center on High Street in Westchester. So we're going to be doing that. And, who doesn't like a good sports movie? And, we've updated. I know Chet has come and seen the show a couple of times, and we've changed the mix a little bit. We've added a few films. We brought Rudy in. The last time we did the show, we brought in Creed, which is the new spinoff of the Rocky series. So we've kind of updated the show, and but people just love it. People never get tired of seeing round 15 of Rocky and Apollo, and people never get tired of seeing Coach Dale tell his team in the huddle, I love you guys. All of that stuff that it's just catnip for sports fans. So they can come out and see it June the 5th at the Uptown Performing Arts Center in High Street in Westchester. I hope everybody comes out, and I think I guarantee you will have a good time.
Ray, one last question for me. I'm a big 76ers fan. I think you know that. And my favorite player these days is this guy, Tyrese Maxey. What did you think of his performance last night? And was it something of a changing of the guard where maybe he's going to be, the face of the franchise and Embiid's going to be, kind of secondary going forward?
Well, I think you're there now. That performance last night was an all-timer. To have a game like that in Madison Square Garden, just amazing. I was reading the New York papers last night and today, and the New York writers, who are a pretty crusty bunch, they aren't inclined to say nice things about the visitor all that often. We're just talking about how did this game rank with the great performances by a visiting player. And they're comparing him to Jerry West. They're comparing him to Reggie Miller, who went into that building and torched the Knicks for years. He's being mentioned in that kind of company now. Hall of Famers. And so, he is fun to watch. And the only reason that the Sixers still have a pulse right now is because of him. Last night was his best moment to date. But those of us that have watched him develop into the player that he's developed into, we know there's more to come.
Ray, one final question for me, realizing that it's only May 1st and you don't win games in the spring. Is this Eagles team a lot better sitting here May 1st than they were at the end of last season with the trades and draft that they've made?
Yes, I would say so. They had areas that they absolutely had to address, mostly in the defensive secondary. They just couldn't stop a passing attack the second half of last season. They gave up. They ranked 31st in the league in pass defense. They were next to last in third down defense. They were next to last in red zone defense. They only intercepted 9 passes in 17 games, the entire team. You put up those kinds of numbers in today's NFL, you're not going to win many games. And so at the end of the year, I think the Eagles smartly didn't take the attitude, that was just a bad stretch. We're really a lot better than that, but we just, if the roof just fell in it. No. They recognized that they needed better players, and so they went out and got them. And the biggest area of need was in the secondary, and in Mitchell and DeJean, they got 2 really, really, really good ones. Now, the one thing I would say on a cautionary note is, some of the existing players you have now have to pick up their game this year. If Jalen Hurts plays this coming season the way he played last season, you're not going to be a whole lot better. If he turns the ball over 20 times like he did last year, you're going to have trouble winning games. Your young players that you drafted from Georgia, Davis, Carter, Smith, Ringo, all of those Georgia kids, they have to step up and play. Carter got off to a really good start last year, and then the second half of the year just tailed off. Davis, same way, played pretty good early, disappeared towards the end. Those guys are going to have to play like the players you drafted them to be. If that happens, if Hurts bounces back, which I kind of think he will, and those young guys on defense pick up their game and really pay attention to their conditioning, keep their weight down, do all the things that you have to do to be a pro football player, they can come back. They can come back. I look at the Cowboys draft. I didn't think it was particularly good. I look at the Giants draft, not particularly good. Washington, I thought, had a good draft. I think the Commanders, I thought, it looked to me like the people that were pushing the buttons down there finally kind of knew what they were doing. So they might be better than they were. But there's no reason why the Eagles can't be back in the mix this year. And the draft, these new players in the draft are going to help them get there. But your big guys, your key guys, the Hurts, the Carters, the Davises, those guys, they have to step up their game. If they do that, the Eagles will be right back.
Fantastic. Well, Ray, as always, thanks for taking the time to join us, be part of our anniversary show yet again, and hopefully we can keep doing this and have you with us.
I hope so, too. I always enjoyed being with you guys. And, again, congratulations on 10 years, and hope you're looking down the road at 10, 20 more.
There you go. Appreciate
Thank you, Ray. Talk to you soon.
Take care, fellas.
All right. Hey, Chet, let's jump out and give a shout-out to all the shows at the Edge of Philly Sports Network this week. As usual, the gang has all the bases covered. You can catch all the action on www.eopsports.com, as well as Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube. You can also find our show on the Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel. Help us out. Hit those subscribe, follow, and like buttons. And as always, share with your family and friends. As you can see, we are loaded up every day. We've added a new morning show, too, trending in the AM every morning, Monday through Friday. Check that out as well. We've got new reporters for the Union. We've got all kinds of stuff going. Lacrosse. We've got it all covered. So check out all the new shows and everything else we have going on over at the Edge of Philly Sports Network. Chet, in the meantime,
like a good idea.
Tell us what's going on at the Irish Rover Station House this week. They're always got things happening.
Oh, yeah. It's a busy time of year still for the Irish Rover. I mean, it's not just St. Patrick's Day. It's not just their, Father's Day car show. There's stuff in between. There's stuff all summer. It is always something fun at the Irish Rover. They have Quizzo and prime rib dinners every Wednesday evening. Terrific Thursday through Sunday dinner specials. And now that it's May, well, even though it's an Irish bar, the Rover will be celebrating Cinco de Mayo. That's coming up Sunday, believe it or not, but they're celebrating it all weekend, Thursday through Sunday, with all sorts of food and drink specials. And then next week, May 12th, is Mother's Day already. And that is always a huge day at the Irish Rover, so make your reservations now. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Check the website, IrishRoverStationHouse.com. And Bill, I mentioned this on Facebook today. I want to thank not just the Rover, but Cavs Philly Tailgates. And although Dave's not with us anymore as far as a sponsor, Allstate, his office in Westchester, supported us for about 3 years. And we appreciate all those guys, Dave, Cav, and the gang at the Irish Rover Station House. We truly love your support. And, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey,
yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, since it's our 10th anniversary and we're going to be celebrating that over the next 20 minutes or so, we got a couple of videos. Now, some people may have seen this on Facebook in recent days, but for those who haven't, this is kind of fun. So this was our little collage of, accolades from some of our favorite guests.
Hey, Bill and Chet, I heard you got a birthday or anniversary coming up. 10 years of doing this. Great job. Keep up the good work. And here's to 10 more great years.
10 years? They let you guys stay on for 10 years? All kidding aside, guys, the Philly Pressbox is my favorite pod. Bill and Chet, you guys do an amazing job. It's the only podcast that I'll be a guest on. I love it. Thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to be on many more times over the next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 30 years. Philly Pressbox is the best. Congrats, guys.
Hey there, it's Scott Fransky of the Phillies. Bill, Chet, just want to say congratulations on 10 great years with Philly Pressbox Radio. Keep up the great work.
Hey, congratulations to Bill and Chet on the 10th anniversary of Philly Pressbox Radio. It's amazing where you guys have come from. Success pays for success. Congratulations, guys.
Bill, there's a 10th anniversary I heard about. Really? Bill and Chet from Philly Pressbox Radio. It's the 10th anniversary, and let me tell you, I could not be more proud. How about you? Are you proud?
I am. Congratulations to both of you guys, Bill and Chet.
Do you remember what you were doing 10 years ago?
I don't.
He doesn't. See, that's
10
a long
years
time.
ago. Congratulations, guys.
Happy anniversary to Philly Pressbox. Bill and Chet, you guys are the greatest. Thanks for having me on. It's a great show. Can't wait to see you guys next time I'm on. Happy anniversary.
Shout out to Bill and Chet, 10 years. Congratulations, man. That's incredible. That's really awesome.
Hi, this is Angelo Cataldi. I can't believe it's 10 years. When I first heard that Philly Pressbox Radio was coming out with Chet and Bill, first thing I thought is that thing won't last a week. 2 at the most. 10 years. Guys, congratulations on a tremendous run, and I hope you can match mine. 33 years. You got 23 to go. Great job, guys. I know I've enjoyed talking to you. Keep it up.
It's me, Jackie Bam from 93.3 WMMR, Philly Pressbox Radio. Hey, Chet, Bill, I love you. All the best. Bye.
Good stuff. And you know, Chet, it all started when just to have some fun when you and I got this thing going. And, you know, we started out with our very first guest at 10 years ago to almost to tonight. And he is going to join us again tonight.
Yes, he is. For people who don't know, you and I were writing some stuff for a website in the fall of 2013. We did a few shows with this other guy who ran that. And then you and I decided, it was your idea, that, hey, maybe we should, branch off and do this on our own. We did. Our first show was indeed April 30th of 2014. And we said, man, I don't know if we can talk for like a whole hour ourselves. Let's get some guests. So nobody really knew us in the business. So we just kind of reached out to, some people that we knew, a little bit, who were into sports. And you hooked us up with our first guest, and he is standing by, ready to go. He was on our first show. He was on our 5th anniversary show, I think a couple other times as well. Introduce him, Bill.
Well, this guy used to be my neighbor back when I lived in Pennsylvania, and he was a sports nut. And I was like, no better way to talk sports than with this guy, because he travels back then, still a little bit, but travels everywhere, all over the place, to any games he could go to. He was there. He raised his boys as sports nuts. We've had at least one of his sons on several times with us as well. So Kevin McClure, my main man, welcome back from show 1 to show 10th anniversary. Who knew?
Yeah, how crazy is that? 10th anniversary show. I remember on our first show, we were trying to have an eye on that Rangers Flyers game 7 was that night, and then we were, but that didn't end up in Philadelphia's favor, but
there've been a few of them since too.
Done for 10 years.
Kevin, when I texted you the other day about joining us, you said something about the process that the 76ers were going through, and you compared us to the process. What did you say about that?
Yeah, I said, the process, that was the end of the first year of the process. And I said, you guys have progressed significantly farther than the process has with the type of guests you've had for me compared to just having Ray on there. It's amazing the kind of guests you guys have on. I enjoy the show so much.
Thank you.
Well, we certainly appreciate you kicking us off in show 1. That was a lot of fun. And I know you've kept going to ball games. Now you have both your boys, college graduates, both in broadcasting business, working their way through the woods, the minor leagues, to get to the top. And I know you're proud of them as well.
Yes. I got one in South Dakota who does a daily sports show out there every day from, 11 to noon. He's doing that and really happy. Mark, my youngest son, is between jobs right now, but he's still doing some play-by-play, for some of the local colleges around here. So he's excited to get that started in the fall, and picks up some things as you move along. It's just it's a tough industry, but there is, with all the streaming and everything, there's so many more opportunities than there were. When Chet, you graduated from Penn State,
yes,
there just wasn't the kind of opportunities there are now for kids today.
Yeah, we did have your son Matt on, as Bill mentioned, I think 3 or 4 times, talking mostly basketball, mostly Sixers. So glad to see he's working in the business. Speaking of opportunities, when I first started back at Dow Jones Radio, and they said they wanted me to do a podcast, I said, podcast? What the hell's that? This was in 2004, 2005. So now everybody's got a podcast, and some of them actually make money. So there are certainly a lot of opportunities out there for folks.
Yes, absolutely. It's, anybody that plays sports will have, if they are interested in this business, can get a podcast started. It's a who's who of names out there but only a handful of them, can last and get the listenership.
Hey, Kevin, one thing I want to bring up here, because I think it'd be interesting to our listeners. Mark, your youngest son, graduated from University of Maryland, and he actually had an opportunity to call a historic event on the baseball side for the University of Maryland. No?
Yes, he did. He a guy named Ryan Ramsey in Mark's senior year, one of the last games he broadcast, threw a perfect game. And it was only like there's only been like 33 or 34 all time in Division I college baseball, and you could just see it as it moved. He was just mowing guys down. And, fortunately for Mark, he had the ninth inning that night and, got the call, the out. If you go on Twitter and type the words Ryan Ramsey, Mark's call usually comes up. So that's really neat to see, and it's something he'll never forget. Really, neither will I.
Very good.
Yep.
All right. Well, Kevin, thanks for stopping by. We're glad you did, and we're going to move on. And we certainly appreciate you helping us kick this thing off.
Yep. Thanks, and again, congratulations. Hope for 10 more years. So
all right.
Be on at the 15th.
There you go. There you go. You got a date.
All right.
Thanks,
Take care,
Kevin.
guys.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Bye.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to mention that, when we started this in 2014, the number one song in the country at the time was Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Good song.
Yeah. And the biggest tour that year was One Direction. They were hot. I guess they're still popular these days. The number one TV shows for the 2013 and 14 TV season, Saturday or Sunday Night Football, of course, was number one. NCIS was number two, and The Big Bang Theory, number three. The number one movie for all of 2014 was Guardians of the Galaxy. Pretty good film, by the way. They actually did a couple of sequels after that. So that's what happened back in 2014. And, the process, the Sixers drafted the big guy, Joel Embiid, in June of 2014, and the Phillies drafted Aaron Nola that same exact month. So that's how far back we go. And we've been fortunate to have not only great guests, but occasional co-hosts, occasional regulars like Freddie Hugo, Freddie Burns, and another guy that you're going to introduce right now.
Yeah, well, you're talking about what's happening 10 years ago. You know what's happening this year? Nobody does it better than Boop. So let's welcome Bob Matron Jr., the Boop, back to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Hey, Boop.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Thanks,
Boop.
You first joined us about 5.5 years ago because we had you on during football season to mark your 5th anniversary of being on our show. And you ended up, spending quite a few Wednesdays with us. We had you on as a football regular for a couple of years. We still take part in our little football predictions. Thank you for suggesting last fall the margin of victory pool, and I kicked your butt, and it was great. So thanks for that.
Why are you on here, Boop? Why do we need to hear that?
I don't know. Just so he can say that.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah. I got to mention one thing, though. Your Irish Rover people, shouldn't it be Cinco o Mayo?
There you go.
That was good. That was good, Boop.
All right.
There you go.
He still got it.
Still got it.
Oh.
All right. That was fun. See you guys.
Yeah. Get on, get abused, and leave, right, Boop?
So now let me ask you one question. What was obviously there have been some great moments in your 10 years, and some of them stick out. Yes. But is there, Philly and the Villanova titles and the World Series, is there an underlying thing that you don't, a moment that you remember over the 10 years that isn't the cherry on top? Because I got one, so I figure maybe you have one that, you might know about, but might be under the radar.
I got nothing. Bill, what do you got?
You talking about an event or a guest?
Anything that happened in sports in the last 10 years that isn't, Philly or a parade or, the World Series. I'll tell you what mine is, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things I thought over the last 10 years sports-wise was, Villanova had those 2 titles in 16 and 18. But kind of under the radar was the fact that Phil Booth, one of their guards, not one of their stars, but a steady guard, tied an NCAA record by winning 13 consecutive NCAA tournament games, something that's only been done by 4 Duke players. And, the kind of stuff I deal with is finding and, that kind of stuff. And I thought when I was going to be on here, I wanted to go back over the last 10 years, and we could talk Nick Foles and Philly, or we could talk the World Series and the Harper home run, or slamming the batter, Maxie from the other night. But I want, there's a underlying thing that you're always going to remember, and that Phil Booth stat was so cool. I just wish that when they got up against Purdue in 2019, it could have been a win. He could have gotten the record himself, but that Purdue team was starting to be the gist of what ended up being a really good team this year. But I just love that he, tied an NCAA record, 13 consecutive NCAA tournament games. So that's my underlying kind of cool thing over the last 10 years.
I think mine, Boop, is probably, now that I've had a second to think about it, it was the Philly sports fans during the Phillies World Series run. They,
okay.
It was a national phenomenon, if you will, the way the Philadelphia sports fans were behind their team and just rocking the Bedlam at the Bank thing, the whole chaos every night when you went down there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out so well last season. But the Philly sports fans, to me, raised themselves a level nationally with the way they supported that ball club.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the ones too. Also good. Chet, you got one?
I got nothing really. I have no memory of anything.
10 years to think of one.
You could ask him which was the last beer flight he had. He might know that.
Well, because it's our anniversary, I'm enjoying a Ring the Bell tonight because, we're going to ring the bell, our 10th anniversary bell. But I do think of some of the great guests we've had. We had Seth Joyner on our show. I guess he's a little, too big for us now, but we had Seth Joyner on like our 70th show or something like that. We've had Fred Barnett on numerous times. We had Dennis Franks, a former Eagle who's no longer with us, on one night, and we surprised him by having Vince Papale call in and, join the show, and they were just so great together. We had Leslie Goodell and Neil Hartman on together, and we set that up without the other one of them not knowing about it. They were,
that's cool,
on TV together all the time on Comcast Sportsnet.
Yeah.
So they've come back many, many times solo since then. And after we say goodbye to you, Boop, I'm going to run down some of our other guests because I got this nice little graphic of stuff. But we are so thankful that you have been on so often.
Don't forget the Didingers.
Yeah,
David Didinger and Ray Didinger.
And Ray together. That was a classic. And I'll tell you, one of my very favorite guests, because he's become a good friend of ours here at Philly Pressbox Radio. When Kevin Riley was on with us and told his story about his shoulder and that whole deal and that whole thing, which also led to his book that he has out, that to me, that was just a show that's ingrained in my head. It was so touching, but still sports related as well. And then we followed that up by having Frank LeMaster be part of that, who was also part of that whole story. Really good. Really, really sticks with me.
Well, look at our guests. One of the best things
These are some of the great guests that we've had over the years. Brandon Gouton, our leader. Ray Didinger just hit number 23 tonight. Dee Lynam loves to come on with us. Echo we had on last week. We've had John Brazier from the Phillies, Freddie Barnett, as I mentioned. And if you talk about former athletes, you mentioned Kevin Riley. We've had him on 18 times. Hound Kelly is great. Super Bill Bradley. Vince Papale's been on 5 times. Larry Anderson, the Proper, just so many great guys. So we're very fortunate, Bill. We've had a lot of wonderful guests, and we're going to have even more going forward.
Absolutely. And you, I didn't see him on your list. Bernard Marcel Perrant was a guest of Phil. There he is.
He was a one-timer. Yeah, down the bottom. Guys like Bill Barber, Bill Berge, Larry Christensen, Steve Jeltz, who will be back again this summer, by the way. I mentioned Seth Joyner. Would love to have him again, but I don't know. Might have to bribe him. Mickey Morandini, got to get him back on. Yeah, Bernie Perrant. That was a big coup for me because I was trying for about 2 years. And we finally got him in, I think, 2018. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. And Mitch Williams. Mitch was a big, big hit for sure.
I got 2 problems, guys. First of all,
yes,
you didn't list me under athletes. So I'm a little upset about that. And as I texted Chet earlier, when I saw the little video you guys put together on your 10th anniversary, I wasn't included it.
Yeah.
I thought of myself as having the 10th anniversary freeze out.
That's right. That's right. But
We
he
don't
just
consider
wanted you.
We don't.
He just
consider
wanted
a
you
guest.
on here
You're
so
just
he
a
could
regular.
harass you, Boop.
Yeah, we love to harass you.
Like every other week.
That's right.
It's like being at home, Boop. Getting
Exactly.
harassed.
Well, hey,
Yeah, you
Boop,
said
we
you needed 4
certainly.
minutes once every 10 years, and that's exactly what my wife says. So
There
There you go. Hey, we certainly appreciate you being part of our show for the last couple of years, and the people really enjoy you being with us, and we do too. And always insightful, always good sports to talk about, and you enjoy it as much as we do, and the Philly sports, and we like that.
Well, thanks for having me, and I think you guys will be fine as long as you keep Bill in Florida. And
There you go. Thanks, Boop.
I'm not moving to New Jersey. Don't worry about that.
Take care, Boop.
All right,
We'll see
Boop.
you,
Thanks, pal. All right.
Hey,
good
we
stuff.
got to talk about Cavs, and then I got to play another video. I just realized that Big Al sent a video our way about 2 hours before showtime, and I just looked at the length. It's a 5-minute video, so we got to squeeze that in here, man.
Well,
I haven't looked at it, but it's apparently some sort of a surprise for us.
Oh, cool.
So,
All right. Well, before we get to that, let's talk about the best tailgaters in Philadelphia, Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Yeah, you know the guys at Cav. They've been cooking up a terrific catering business for more than 30 years, known best for their tailgate parties. Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. There's Cav. There's Bob. Cav also does corporate events and parties. You name it. Check the website, phillytailgates.com, if you have any questions. You can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. And yes, Cav works with the gang at Philly Sports Trips. They have trips this summer, to Boston, Baltimore, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and London next month for that Phillies Mets series. They're in Louisville this weekend, by the way, for the Kentucky Derby. And yes, they will get you to Brazil for the Eagles season opener, first week of September. And there's an October trip to Los Angeles we mentioned last week to see Penn State battle USC in their first ever meeting as Big Ten opponents. All of the details on phillysportstrips.com. You ready for that video, Bill?
Let's do it. It's going to be a surprise.
I have no
for
idea
both
what
of
this
us.
is. I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping it's something nice, and
Sit
we'll
back
see.
and get your refreshment.
I'm ready. Sit back and enjoy. I got some popcorn and brewski, so here it is.
Hey guys, it's Mike Laro from P&M and the AM. Clear the ice and the fighting's final. Just want to wish Bill Furman and Chet Chesko a happy 10th anniversary, guys. Congratulations, man. 10 more years, man, or more, whatever you guys want to do. And Bill, I'll be looking forward to our Penn State talks this year. Congratulations, guys.
Hey, Chet and Bill, it's James Scorza here for Pass and Afanax here on Extra Philly Sports. Just want to say, first and foremost, congratulations on 10 years of Philly Pressbox Radio. It's been an honor and a privilege to call you guys my friends and colleagues. Congrats again on 10 years, fellas. You guys rock.
Bill, Chet, congratulations, 10-year anniversary on Philly Pressbox Radio. Man, you guys are the OGs of Philly sports podcasting. I mean, there's so many that came out after you guys, but you guys paved the way for guys like me and guys like Mike Laro and so forth. So, guys, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for paving the way for guys like me and myself. Give me an opportunity, and I don't have to go to a radio school broadcasting. I could just do this on my own, and you guys gave me an opportunity, build confidence in myself to do something like this. So, guys, I just want to say thank you so much, and happy 10-year anniversary again. Like, you guys got to see a lot of playoff runs, a Super Bowl run, and so forth. Congratulations, guys, and many more. Love you guys. Have a good one.
Hey, Bill, Chet, what's going on, guys? It's Sal G, one of the hosts on the Phillies Fighting Final post-game show. Just want to wish you guys congratulations on getting to 10 years with Philly Pressbox Radio. I'm just lucky here to be even doing 10 minutes. So congrats again, guys. Good work.
Hey, this is Ryan Reese from the Football Smack Talk Show, Party on Broad, and Birds of the Round Table. Wanted to come here real quick and wish a happy anniversary To Chet and Bill, 10 years. What an amazing accomplishment. I know that it's hard to do, especially, together. So here's to another 10 years, and congratulations again, guys.
Hey, Bill and Chet. Joe from Steel Steps here. Wishing you two a happy anniversary for 10 years. It's a huge accomplishment. Us here at Steel Steps can only hope to last for half as long as you guys did. So congratulations, and here's to 10 more years.
Hey, Muffler Mike from All Across All the Time. Congratulations, Bill and Chet, on 10 years of Philly Pressbox Radio, and I wish you continued success with the show.
Hey, my name is Mitsuki, and I'm from the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I just want to say congratulations to Chet and Bill on your 10-year anniversary of the Philly Pressbox Radio. That is impressive. Congratulations again. Cheers to 10 more.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Matty B here. Bill, Chet, congratulations on 10 years of broadcasting excellence in the realm of Philadelphia sports. I only wish that I can be you guys when I grow up, like way up, because seeing how you guys are way older than me. All kidding aside, great job for 10 years. Here's the next 10. Take care.
Hey, Bill and Chet, congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. We can't wait to see 10 more years of just the great programming and interviews and everything you guys do. Congratulations.
Hey there, Chet and Bill. Congratulations on the 10 years. Guys just kill it every time. Amazing interviews. 10 years in this industry is hard to do. 10 years working together with anybody is hard to do. But you guys kill it every night, every Wednesday night. It's just amazing to watch you guys. And here's the 10 more years of working with you. Like I said, over the years, we got to work together. We became friends over the years. And I just can't wait to see what the future holds with Philly Pressbox Radio and Edge of Philly Sports. Keep kicking ass, guys, and congratulations again on 10 years.
Freddie Burns here. Congratulations, Philly Pressbox Radio, on your 10-year anniversary. Bill and Chet, you are nothing short of amazing. To do that year after year for 10 straight years and to show the consistency that you have, it really is remarkable. I just, every week, guest after guest after guest after guest. It's just an amazing show. You cover all four of the major sports, plus you add on some of the other sports or roller derby or current stuff that's going on outside of just Philadelphia. I know Chet will jump in with his music there sometimes. It's just a tremendously great show to listen to. And I really think you guys should be on live radio, honestly. I've always said that. You remind me of Ray Diddy and Glenn. But I just want to say thank you so much for your hard work, consistency, and personally from me, I wouldn't even be doing this Edge of Philly Sports if it wasn't for you two letting me come on your show, talk about the draft a couple times, do some fantasy football with Fred, and just get comfortable like preparing and talking and doing that type of thing. I don't think this ever would be happening from me at Edge of Philly. So personally, thank you so much and congratulations, guys. You guys are awesome. You're the best.
Wow.
That was cool. That was really cool. Thanks
not
to
preview that, so that was cool.
Yeah, thanks to Al. Thanks to all the guys for taking some time to jump in there. That's really cool.
Yeah, there's our man, Big Al. We should mention, you and I started doing the show in 2014, and then it was, I think, 2019, a little after our 5th anniversary, that we joined the Edge of Philly Sports Network, run by Al with some help from Joey, and then, Fred joined up with them. So, and now they got shows every day, almost all day. When Al first told me he was going to, do that, like plan to have shows like several hours every day, I thought, okay, good luck with that, Al. And, he's doing it. And he's a guy who was on a mission and, he's seeing his dream fulfilled, just like you and I are doing, pretty well with this. I never thought it would last 10 years. Who did? But
no, right. And you know what? I think the thing that I always said, I can remember having a talk with Freddie about this when he was just trying to get going with some stuff, is you got to be consistent, and if nothing else, I was thinking about this, 10 years, that's 520 possible shows, and we're on 493. All right, 493 tonight. We, early on we would skip a week here and there. We haven't skipped a week in years now, and I think be consistent and do your homework when you come to the show and be prepared. And I think that's the key to all of this.
And I mentioned in the preview video the other day that I would tell people, where we came from, which I did, and where we are and where we're going. Well, going forward, we're going to have some new first-time guests. I've already arranged a couple of those for this summer. And 7 weeks from now, Bill, we have another little celebration. It'll be our 500th show. We're not quite ready to announce the specifics, but we're going to do something special for that. So that's something to look forward to in about 7 weeks, sometime in late June. So
and we could tag on to that a little bit with Boop said something about keeping us separate. Maybe not.
Maybe we'll actually meet up somewhere, you and me, and do a live show somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe. But hey, it's been a lot of fun, and you went through all those guests and so many great ones to that we've had. But to the people that have hung in there, Robbie, I saw Robbie's comment she made. Been there from the start. I know Freddie and them have been
pretty much.
Big John Roberts, Joe Bonder's been there, Joe Howell, Jane.
Kevin was a guest.
Yeah. So many. I hate to put all these names out because I'll forget people, but so many of you that are on here now. Denny Malloy.
Denny, PJ, of course.
Yeah. Yep. And, so Bob Sullivan, another one's been with us from the start. So many people have been with us, and we certainly appreciate that. We appreciate everybody that has told their friends that are interested in just hanging out for an hour. We said from the start when we did this, we wanted to have it set up where it was like we were sitting at a table in a tap room and we were talking sports.
Yeah, well, that was the Glenn and Ray approach, and that's kind of what we were shooting for. Not any real hardcore arguments about stuff, not clickbait, just talking about the Philly sports scene, maybe throwing some interesting subjects out there, occasionally mixing in some music or sports because, hey, that's a couple of my passions, so what the hell?
Great. Why not? And for the most part, we've agreed on most stuff. Sooner or later, you've figured out that I was right on a lot of things. It just took you a little longer. Matter of fact, since you mentioned that, did you hurt yourself jumping off that Embiid bandwagon earlier when you said Maxey is the guy? I went like this. I was like,
just watching what's happening in this playoff series, with Embiid not able to stay healthy and that guy Maxey, killing it, especially last night. I'm just wondering if it is the changing of the guard, as somebody posted on Facebook last night.
I was wondering if that thud was you hitting the ground off the bandwagon and climbing back up on the Tyrese Maxey 0 number.
Love Tyrese. Hey, Phillies won today, by the way, 2-1. We're going to start our 11th year, I guess, officially next week, Bill. And you want to hear who we got coming on?
Yes, of course I do. Are they going to be better than Ray Diddy?
Some people might say so. Tough to beat Ray Diddy, but here's the deal. We will start year 11 with a couple of great guests. In fact, technically it is 3 guests, all of whom are much, much, much younger than you and me, Bill.
That's pretty much everybody these days.
Yeah, I know. One of them is this guy, Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly down the bottom, and he will join us to talk baseball. He is the editorial director of Phillies Nation. He does such a great job.
Does a great job
covering the Phillies and has great insight all the time. So he will be back. And then, yes, by popular demand, Bill, these two guys, half of the band Fat Mez out of South Jersey, Dom Levy and Billy Thoden. I'm serious. Several people who I've seen at their shows have asked when I'm going to have them back on. Well, it will be next week. A great time again with the Fat Mez guys, Dom and Billy.
There you go. Hey, they as many times as you've gone to see them, they must really be popular on the circuit up there.
They're extremely popular. They're doing like 5 shows a week all over South Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania. They're getting some ticketed shows now. They're doing a show at the Ardmore Music Hall as headliners in May. So they're doing okay.
Wow. Good for them. Good
Yep.
for them. All right. Do you want to talk any more Sixers? Have you had enough of that? And, you know, they live to play another day, and that's a good thing.
Let me just say this. That was an amazing win last night. And now, you know, the fear is that you're going to come home to Philly Thursday night and throw up a dud. I just have that feeling in my head. I hope to hell I'm wrong. I would love to see a Game 7 at the Garden. But who knows? I'm not going to say they're going to win. I'm not going to say they're going to lose, but I'm a little worried, to be honest, because, you know, I think they're going to double down on Maxey. I don't think Embiid's going to be close to healthy yet, especially playing with just one day off in between. The guy's banged up. We know that. We're used to it every single spring. I'm hoping for a win and a Game 7 where anything can happen, but who knows? We still have the Phillies, no matter what happens. The Phillies 21 wins on the season now, Bill.
Playing good.
1/5 of the way.
Playing good ball, that's for sure. And got another gem today from Zach Wheeler. And, you know, hey, every day they go out and they get good starting pitching. That's a really, really good thing to have.
Well, he struggled today. He went 5 innings and gave up, you know, had a lot of base runners. He had trouble with his control. They got him out of there after 5 innings and 104 pitches or whatever. But then the bullpen was a little shaky, but did eventually get it done. Kyle Schwarber knocked in both runs, by the way, with a seeing eye single. So go Phils. They are off tomorrow, then come home for, I believe, the next week and a half. I'll be at the game on Friday, by the way, with a bunch of guys from the Edge of Philly Sports Network. So that'll be fun. I get to meet some of these guys who I haven't actually met in person yet. We saw a few of those in the video, so that'll be fun. Go Phillies, go Sixers, and go Philly Pressbox Radio.
There you go. Anything else? You ready to wrap up our
Let's wrap it
year?
up. I'm going to go celebrate with the rest of my beer and some food when I get home.
We can get ready to start year 11 shortly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Does that say ring the bell on that can?
It does. Ring the bell. Yes, it is a lager from Conshohocken Brewing Company, where Glenn Macnow was one of the part owners.
All right. So let's ring the bell. Let's wrap it up. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Ray Didinger, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you enjoyed our 10th anniversary as much as we enjoyed being here with you. Thanks to Kevin McClure, Bob Patrone Jr. as well. We hope you join us next Wednesday, May 8th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook or on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. And how about, Chet, we got to do it one more time. Let's go Sixers.